What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Monday, November 1st, but happy Halloween anyway. We started the show at I think the technical time, if you were watching on YouTube, was probably 11:59 p.m. on Halloween. It is definitely Monday if you're listening in the stream. But if you want to see this show early, if you want to hang out with us after the football ends, if you want to talk football in the chat with us and guess what Breech and I are for Halloween, and then Ryan Wilson will join us shortly when he's done with his HQ duties. If you want all those things every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night after the primetime games, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/pick6. Turn on your alerts. Like the video. We are going to give away give us your best guesses for who we are. Breech is a clearly defined person. I think I'm trying to be one, but I don't really. Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll help. And you can also leave guesses as to who Ryan Wilson is in the YouTube chat. Plus, if you have any winners or losers from week 8, we'll use those later in the show. Hit the like button. I am told if we get 200 likes on this video, and presumably more people will roll in, we'll get more likes, et cetera, et cetera. Remind people in the chat to smash the like button. We will give away a Pick Six Podcast t-shirt. That's right. You can rep us, the pod, in the color of your choice. Green, gray, navy. Super soft, super comfortable. And as I mentioned, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, primetime recaps. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Tuesdays, mock draft show. Thursdays, the pick show with me, Pete Briscoe, and RJ White. We will also have a Tuesday trade deadline show at 3:30 p.m. that will be live as well. So again, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're a loyal podcast listener, you have YouTube. Go hit the subscribe button. It helps us. Clearly, we're pushing it. If you haven't figured that out. So let's recap week 8. What do you say, Breech?
Let's do it. I'm ready, Brinson.
I mean, I'm super excited to talk about football and not watch the Braves get blown out.
Well, I would hope so, because that would be weird if you weren't.
I mean,
Are you a fan in disguise because you don't want anybody to know you're a Braves fan? Is that your costume? Because they're down 3-2 now.
They're up 3-2 now.
Oh, they're up 3-2.
I am no. Do we have any remotely close guesses to what we are? Probably not. Mine's not really.
Don't say it. We'll reveal at the end of the podcast because it's still Halloween for
an
hour.
Maybe
in the Central Time Zone while we're recording this.
And all the times I might have to turn the.
I'm gonna bask in my house.
Degenerate gambler. That would work.
That's a great guess.
Yeah,
Hops Growlers.
I really had like a couple different vibes I was going for. They didn't work. I'll have to maybe give something more specific. Anyway, Vikings-Cowboys. Cooper Rush filling in for Dak Prescott, who's inactive with a calf injury. Cooper Rush goes 24-40, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick as the Cowboys defeat the Minnesota Vikings 20-16 on Sunday Night Football. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings offense were anemic, pathetic. I mean, really bad and embarrassing in terms of their production and their game plan. They had Adam Thielen, on some deeper throws at various points in the game, but by and large, it was like, I mean, look, if there's a game where CJ Ham has more catches than Justin Jefferson, we're doing something wrong, Breech.
Yeah, the Vikings did something wrong, and for Halloween, I think Mike Zimmer dressed up as a bad coach. Because that's what he was in this game. This whole thing, if you're a Vikings fan associated with the Minnesota Vikings, this was a humiliating loss. I mean, you had, Minnesota went out, they scored a touchdown on their opening possession. They looked like they were going to run the Cowboys out of the stadium. And then they did absolutely nothing the rest of the game. And to see, the Cowboys pass rush looked really good to their credit, but it just felt like Cousins was afraid of taking downfield shots, which was surprising because he connected on one again on that first drive where they actually scored a touchdown. But after that, it's just the Vikings offense was absolutely non-existent. And just watching this game, it really felt like the Cowboys dominated it, but they couldn't get ahead. Every time it looked like they were about to take over, something crazy happened. Like Cooper Rush with a first half interception. Cowboys missed a field goal in the first half. He got jacked up in the second half when they were driving, and he fumbled it and lost it. But, you didn't have those things. You weren't saying, gosh, the Vikings blew this. This was the Cowboys went in there with a backup quarterback and just laid a butt kicking on the Vikings, even though the score says 20-16.
The in DFS on the showdown slate, I had an entry that did okay. I think it finished in like the top 200, but it didn't go huge. But the people who won it basically went 4 Cowboys, 2 Vikings. In other words, the Cowboys drastically outperformed their expectations and the Vikings drastically underperformed their expectations. I mean, Justin Jefferson, everyone knows that he has been due for a massive game. His air yards are there. He's had some very close misses with Kirk Cousins, and he finished with 4 targets, 2 catches, and 21 yards. I mean, Tyler Conklin had 7 targets. KJ Osborne had 3. I get that Trayvon Diggs is on it, but Justin Jefferson has to be more involved in this game plan. Figure out a way to do it. They were throwing all these little running back screens and running back passes short behind the line of scrimmage. It was not what you wanted to see out of the Vikings offense. And the Cowboys are now 6-1, and the Vikings are 3-4. Did I get that right? Or are they 3-5? They're 3-4. Yeah,
3-4. Yeah,
yeah. They're 3-4. The Cowboys are 6-1. They did update it. NFL media, good job. This feels like a loss and a half if you're the Vikings. You get gifted no Dak Prescott at home on Sunday night against the Cowboys defense that's played really well, but is exploitable in certain areas. And Dalvin Cook finished with 18 carries, 78 yards. Just not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. Kirk Cousins was under siege the entire time, and your best playmakers just basically weren't involved, and the decision making down the stretch was just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the final, say, 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, and first of all, start with Mike Zimmer calling 2 timeouts in a row. What in the name of Halloween was he thinking? Because first of all, you're not allowed to call 2 timeouts in a row. This is also on the officials. Hearing who's the rules analyst for NBC? Terry McAuley. And hearing him saying that the official is supposed, so Mike Zimmer calls the timeout with 1:04 left in the game. The Vikings are on defense. Cowboys are on offense, obviously. Everybody's getting ready for the play. Zimmer decides he wants another timeout, so he calls a second timeout, which is illegal. However, officials are supposed to ignore the second timeout. They're not even supposed to acknowledge the coach. The penalty is only there in case some official is accidentally doesn't remember the first timeout was called. So Zimmer gets granted the second timeout, and you only get penalized if you get granted the second timeout. So that was a key spot because it was going to be 3rd and 16 on that play coming out of that first timeout. But instead, the Vikings got penalized 5 yards. So now it's 3rd and 11. And then you have the crazy pass to Ezekiel Elliott. The actual throw itself wasn't crazy. He should have been stopped 5 yards short of the first down. But 3 different Vikings players missed the tackle, and he converts a 3rd and 11. If they tackle him for a 5 or 6 yard gain, the Cowboys are kicking a field goal there, not even thinking twice about it. That is an automatic field goal situation for Mike McCarthy to tie the game. And then they didn't. So Elliott got the first down, and then Amari Cooper, the Cooper to Cooper, the first time in NFL history, I believe that has happened, according to everyone on Twitter. And so you had the quarterback with the same first name as his receiver had a last name.
That's the first time that's ever happened?
First time it's ever happened on a game-winning touchdown.
Oh, a game-winning touchdown. Okay, all right, that's interesting. So I guess it couldn't. I mean,
no. Here it is from NFL Research. The Cooper rush to Amari Cooper TD is the first in NFL history where the passer's first name and the receiver's last name are an exact match. The Cowboys also have the only pass TD where the passer's last name and receiver's first name were an exact match, and that happened with Andy Dalton and Dalton Schultz. So the Cowboys can claim to family.
Cowboys twice, huh?
So anyway, Zimmer's, I don't even know what to call it, but his dumb 2 timeout situation, it led to the downfall of the Vikings here. I mean, I've never seen a coach melt down like that by blatantly disregarding the rules. Obviously he doesn't want to.
It's like the time Minnesota didn't turn their draft pick on time, and they skipped their pick. I mean, it's a rookie mistake that can't happen in a situation where you're trying to get to 4 and 3. Like if you again.
But it's a rookie mistake by a guy who's been coaching the NFL since 1994.
But 1994. And he's been a head coach. I think he's one of 6 head coaches who have been tenured since 2013, I think, right? Where it's like everyone else 2017. Yeah. I mean, like, he's one of the longest tenured head coaches. He's been doing this for a long time. He needs to be good at that kind of game management. And it's the sort of thing where, if you're 3-3, you are the 7th seed in the NFC playoffs. You get no Dak Prescott at home in prime time, and you need to go 4-3. You get to 4-3, and you feel like you're in a really good spot to try, especially with the Panthers beating the Falcons. Like, you feel like you're in a good spot to make this playoff push as we sort of roll into November. And now you lose to Cooper Rush in his first career start. I mean, that's a really bad loss.
Horrible loss. I mean, absolutely. You look at their schedule after playing the Cowboys, they have the Ravens, then the Chargers, then the Packers. So you're talking about, when you look at who they have coming up, this was a game they had to get. Because now, instead of being 4-3, you think, hey, if we can just steal one of those next 3 games against the Ravens, Chargers, Packers, at 4-3, that takes you to 5-5. At 3-4, if you go 1-2, you're 4-6, and you're not in a good spot. So, right. I mean, that was just a devastating loss for Minnesota.
It's a really, really bad loss. For the Cowboys, man, I'll tell you what, Mike McCarthy, I know we like to give him grief for multiple things, whether it's the Austin Powers jokes on Hard Knocks, or the weekend at PFF, the weekend camp out there. But the reality is, this Cowboys offense is cooking. I mean, 20 points is not, mind-blowing stuff, but they were moving the ball all night. Cooper Rush had a huge, and they were doing it with the backup quarterback, obviously. I mean, they had 419 yards to the Vikings 278, 7 of 14 on third down. Didn't even get they didn't have to, I guess they didn't attempt a 4th down. 1 of 2 in the red zone. And Rush had 23 first downs of 17. They ran for 3.3, which was, they weren't running the ball that well, but he averaged 7.8 yards per attempt. I mean, this was a really impressive game from Cooper Rush. And that was the knock on Mike McCarthy last year, was, the offensive line obviously got hurt, but he was playing with backup quarterbacks and losing football games, and people were killing him. It's like, oh, like, you can't win without, if Dak's not here, you're just going to be terrible. Is that what it is? But Ryan Wilson's here. This Cooper Rush team looked good. I mean, he was slinging the ball, man. And by the way, Cedric Wilson, he could be a quarterback too. Wilson, speaking of Wilsons, what's up?
Yeah, apparently Cedric Wilson played high school quarterback. Hey, Breech. And his dad, he played for the Steelers back in the day, and 49 before that, I believe, was a high school quarterback as well. And I remember him back in the day having some similar type throws, but not with the arm strength that Junior showed off. And then Junior scored that touchdown reception on the first drive of the second half. I don't know if you talked about that either. But just, I don't know what you guys have said, because I just hopped in here. And a wholly embarrassing performance by the Vikings.
Disastrous.
We've been piling on the Vikings.
Yeah.
We were talking about, I like your outfit, Breech. I saw that. You look good. I saw your picture with Annabelle.
Do you think, am I currently?
Oh, are you Tom Selleck?
Yeah, thank you. Wow, nice.
Crushed it.
Yeah, thank you, Wilson. All right. You might guess that in the comment section. I had these sunglasses on, but they were fogging up, and I was like sweating. I had to turn on my AC.
Yeah, that's actually pretty. I noticed the shirt, but it didn't register that is not your normal attire.
I know, right? I didn't have time to shave into a mustache, and I got a couple.
Yeah, if you did a mustache, that'd have been a layup. But
a mustache would have been obvious. But then I would have this like extremely pale, probably fat layer of
I don't know if people know Tom Selleck. Like, that's mid-early 80s. I don't know.
And also, the other thing about the Tom Selleck outfit, or Magnum PI outfit, is that it helps to be, you need to see the full body shot, because you got to have those shorts.
The nut hugger shorts, are you wearing those?
No, I'm wearing pants because we were out trick-or-treating earlier.
The khaki, you have to wear the khaki shorts that just go just below the.
Yeah, we were out trick-or-treating.
Yeah. But anyway, I was going to say, last week, I was doing this. I think I talked you guys into it. Oh, the Vikings are definitely making the playoffs. There's no way they're not making the playoffs. All these other teams in the NFC stink. So here's the conversation we just had here in Connecticut. And just quickly, let me know if you want. Pick 3 for the final 2 spots: Saints, Seattle, Minnesota.
I think you can have a few
Can
more.
I pick
teams
Carolina?
I think Carolina can be involved.
They're not. Just, you got to pick my 3. You can pick your own 3. You can do your own game.
Well, Saints definitely won. I mean, they beat the Bucs today.
Yeah, people are like, oh, they don't have Jameis. Trevor Simeon's the same person. It doesn't matter. Taysom Hill's going to play when he gets healthy anyway.
And
Deshaun Watson, when the Saints shock everyone and trade for him.
Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. Ooh, Brinson.
They finished. I tweeted about it earlier. Rivers' high school team finished his season on Friday, so he's done coaching, and they didn't make the 4A playoffs in Alabama.
Would you rather have Phillip Rivers or Drew Brees if you're Sean Payton?
Drew Brees said tonight he's not going to return.
He's not coming back, and he said it in like a I would if I could, but Sean won't have me way. Carolina's a 7 seed right now, so I think you have to include them at 4-4.
My 3 teams. Pick 2.
San Fran. Wait, this is Minnesota, New Orleans, and who?
Seattle, because Russ is coming back, and they won today.
New Orleans for sure at 5-2. I mean, that's a huge leg up.
I feel, why are we not even talking? You're right.
It should be. It really should just be 2 teams or 3 teams for the 7 spot. I think. But I guess the quarterback got hurt.
Just use Ryan's options because I want to answer too.
I mean, I would probably say Minnesota, but I mean, I wouldn't feel good about it.
Get out of here. All right, Breech, what do you got?
I'm going to go Seattle.
Yeah, I think Minnesota can't beat Cooper Rush at home in Minnesota. They played terribly. If you came from another planet, he's watching football.
Braves lost.
Yeah, if you were watching from another planet and just saw this game, you would be convinced that Kirk Cousins started playing football yesterday.
Or you'd be convinced that Cooper Rush was the best NFL player on the planet.
Exactly.
That would be funny if you drop somebody in there. It's like, hey, so, what do you think? Is this Cooper Rush guy like a top 10 quarterback? Or like, what's his deal? It's like, yeah, for sure. Should we then just go straight to the Saints game? Since we're talking
I'll just say real quick, because we didn't really touch on the Cowboys, that I think the biggest takeaway for the Cowboys here is their defense, which we've said is really good, that this team is stacked. They won with Cooper Rush. And, like nothing against Cooper Rush, but if Dak Prescott's the quarterback, they probably win this game 38-10. Like that's
no, they win this game 38-35 because that's how the Vikings play.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually think, like I had the over in our best bets picks. I mean, I assume that people would understand that that if Dak Prescott's out, don't take the over, right? I feel safe, right? Like if one of your best bets was the Cowboys -1.5 at Minnesota, would you claim it now? Like, or would you? I mean, I guess you probably would if you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You're celebrating like it's not tomorrow.
Well, I'm just saying that like it's not a bet you would make if you knew that Dak was out. Like you would want to get the 4.5. At any rate, yeah, Cowboys are running away with that division.
Yeah, look at their schedule. Here's the thing that I just said.
I mean, Philly's the closest team at 3-5. They're 6-1.
But let me tell you this: when you look at the rest of their schedule, they have maybe 2.5 tough games. They're in the running for the number 1 seed.
Of course, they're good.
And then if you have to come through Dallas, anything can happen. A healthy Dak, and I love the Amari Cooper trick where you act like your legs hurt and then come out there and make a huge catch.
We're gonna get to the Saints and Bucs, and so we'll stay in the NFC. But
if you're the Cowboys and you have a 3-game lead, we're gonna get to the Bucs. I'm gonna stop talking about the Cowboys. But would you if Dak is at 100%, would you consider letting him sit one more game?
Captain, sit down, John Breech.
Absolutely.
No way. If you have a chance to get the number 1 seed.
No. He's doing it this coming week.
I'm talking about against the Broncos.
You have to.
Oh yeah, no.
Whatever you do, you have to get Dak as healthy as humanly possible.
I thought Breech meant week 18.
No, I mean week 9. Right now, going into next week, if they're like, we don't know how we feel, they can
win. Cooper Rush can win their next 2 games if they need.
He can win their next 3 games, given the way the Chiefs are playing.
Sure, yeah.
But no, absolutely, you sit them next week, Breech. I thought you meant at the end.
Their schedule is cake. I do wonder, like, does this win? Could it potentially derail any Dak hope for an MVP? Just because you miss a game, that's a bunch of numbers or stats when you're looking up the resumes versus various guys, and also the fact that people will point out, well, the Cowboys can win
with anyone
because they're loaded, and so like maybe it's just Dak just slides into comeback player of the year and is sort of pushed out of the MVP. Now, look, if the Cowboys get the 1 seed and they play incredible football all year.
To use your own words against you, people get fatigued, so no Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
We're all worried about Kyler staying healthy.
Kyler's dealing with the injury too.
Josh Allen didn't play well. Even
Tom Brady lost today. So
Mahomes hadn't been playing.
Maybe sitting's the best thing that Dak could have done.
Maybe so. All right, let's move on to that loss that Tom Brady took that you mentioned. Saints 36, Bucs 27. The big story out of this, of course, that Jameis Winston tore his ACL and will be done for the year, which means Trevor Siemian, Nick Underhill of NOLA football. Is it New Orleans football or NOLA football?
One of those. We should look and get it right because he's on his own working hard.
Yeah, he's on his own. He does awesome work.
Great
Sorry, Nick. Sorry, listeners. Just want to make sure we get it right.
New Orleans.football.
NewOrleans.football.com. If you're a Saints fan or a fan of good football writing, go check it out. Nick does great work there. He scoops a lot of stuff working solo, which is really impressive. He reported that Taysom Hill likely close to coming back. So I think that gives the Saints a little bit of wiggle room just in terms of being able to push. Like you're not in full blown panic mode where you go out and trade for Deshaun Watson, tomorrow morning or Tuesday morning, which I don't think they'll do.
No.
Okay.
I just think, if it's 3 first-round picks and all the other stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah, they don't have the draft capital. But I mean,
they are now.
They are now
a huge drop off.
What?
Is Trevor Siemian a huge drop off? We're talking. It's not like they lost Drew Brees 8 years ago.
It was really big drop off.
I didn't see it in the numbers. Go ahead.
I mean, they are a half a game back of the Bucs. Like this is, they are. I am now. My butt is my cheeks are a little clenched here on this division bet that I thought I was cruising on.
I still think division bet's a layup. But what was the Saints over under coming into the year? Do you know that off the top of your head?
It got down to 9, I believe, maybe 8.5 after Breeze retired, but I'm not entirely
sure. If you took the under, that might be problematic.
If you took the under, you're screwed. I mean, this is a team that's looks. The AFC is kind of wild in terms of how those playoffs are going to shake out. The NFC looks like we're solid, as you point out, Wilson. 5 solid teams up top, and then 2 wild card spots, and it's sort of like probably not going to be great teams, but the Saints are in a different class than everybody else, so they look like they're in pretty good shape. I was
going to say quickly, we were dunking all over you last week about the 49ers. They're still in it. I mean, the Vikings don't want it. Any teams in it.
Yep, for sure. Anyway, the Saints beat Tom Brady. They got big on him. It was 23. I was actually trick-or-treating during the second half of this game.
You were, or you took your kid?
Well, I mean,
we need to clarify here.
Halloween dunk.
I mean, I was definitely telling Robbie, because Robbie really only likes Reese's cups and M&Ms. So we got up there and there wasn't some of those options. Yeah, is that one of those green ones?
Reese's they're the green at the bottom. I don't know why they started doing that. I thought it was gonna be minty, so I bit into it expecting mint and got no mint.
It's just colored green
because there's a green layer of chocolate on the bottom, Ryan.
Well, here's the thing for both of you guys. You can't come to my house because my 14-year-old has a severe peanut allergy. So you dum-dums would kill him if you came with those Reese's peanut
butter. I would just scrape out the peanut butter and then he could have the chocolate and the green.
By the way, I love Reese's peanut butter cups, and even
God cursed you to have a peanut allergy.
No, we just when he was like a year and a half, the first time we figured out he could eat peanut butter. I was like, yeah, well, I'll just put it up where he can't reach it because I'm not eating peanut butter because you might die. So we got to work this out. Anyway,
yeah, what's your number one? What's the we're asking in the chat, what's the GOAT Halloween candy? What's your number one Halloween candy?
OG peanut butter cups. Like I can the Reese's, like the Reese's Pieces, like that came out around ET, I believe. They're okay, but
Reese's
I mean,
Pieces are great. It's not okay.
I don't hate them, but the peanut butter cups are the OG. I can eat 20 of those in one sitting. Throw up and keep eating.
Do you know what they have now?
What?
They have Reese's peanut butter cups with Reese's Pieces inside them.
Yeah, I have seen those.
I had one tonight.
I said,
Robbie, you should. I had to take 5 tonight too. I was like, oh, take 5. Take 5's a good one. I'm very partial to Butterfinger. Heath Bar is also awesome.
You know what I like that most people don't like or just don't eat a lot? Mr. Good Bar.
Ew.
Yeah, I like
it, but like people hate and give me funny looks when I say I like them is like Mounds and Almond Joy. I like coconuts.
Oh, I love Almond Joy.
I love an Almond Joy or Mounds. And you can if you like Mounds or Almond Joy, there is a stress-free acquisition because they're like you can go up to a candy table or a candy bowl that's been
picked through.
Like you show up late in the process and you get there, it's just all Mounds and Almond Joy, and you're like, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's right.
We got a bunch of full-size candy bars in the neighborhood tonight. Robbie,
nice humble brag. You're living in a fancy neighborhood.
I feel like the Saints are the Almond Joy of the NFL. It's a delicious and no one's appreciating it.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Good way to DM you and say bring it back.
Rain Brinson in right now.
Yeah. So anyway, James Harris's ACL. Do you want to talk about the games or the quarterback options first? Because I do think there are.
Why are we concerned about Trevor Siemian?
What are you talking about?
Trevor Siemian is 75% of Jameis. Taysom Hill's coming back.
They are not satisfied with Trevor Siemian.
I like Brinson's Phillip Rivers thing. I think that might be New Orleans' best option here. Why not call Phillip Rivers and see if he wants to play?
Why don't you call Peyton Manning? Why
Rivers is
because Peyton Manning has a pinched nerve in his neck and can't play football anymore. Ryan
Rivers is Drew Brees said he's not coming back. Rivers is less than 3 hours drive from New Orleans, from where the high school he's coaching
in
in
I
Alabama.
don't think that matter. I mean, he knows how to get on an airplane.
He's probably already there.
For family purposes. Like if they already had their bye week, but like if his family,
he's got 15 kids, Ryan. You got to take that into account.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't just dip out on Christmas and tell the family you're not going to be there.
And it's not like, yes, exactly, Breech. He's not moving back to California. Like, sorry guys, back to California. The family could come and then they could, you load them up in your Sprinter van and take them back to see the grandparents over the weekend or whatever. But the Rivers had told Sam Farmer before the season began that he was working out for, getting ready, was, not completely in shape, but was going to get that way. So that way, once, and he told Chris Mortensen of ESPN this too, once the season ended, his high school coaching season, if there was a team that needed him and was a good fit and it could work for the two sides, he would be interested in coming back. And frankly, the Saints are the absolute perfect fit. Great offensive line, good running game. One of the best pass catching running backs, like in terms of like swing passes, and Rivers is probably the best swing pass thrower in the history of football, professional football. He is. That's all you remember is that those dump balls.
Sidearm like a weirdo. Also, Michael Thomas.
Whatever. That's his signature throw. Alvin Kamara.
His signature throw is a screen pass. Think about that for a second.
I mean, he throws it deep. I'm just saying, like he throws those swing passes better. Look, Alvin Kamara and Phillip Rivers would do damage. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, so let's say how much better. If Jameis is 1 and Trevor Siemian is 0.75 of Jameis, what is Phillip Rivers?
1.5.
Yeah, all right, I'm not.
What about trading for Andy Dalton?
That's a 0.3.
Yeah. Cam Newton, you could sign, but
what?
Yeah, I don't see that.
Taysom Hill is better than Cam Newton.
What about trading the Bills for Mitchell Trubisky?
I don't hate that. That's a good idea, actually.
But again, accuracy is a concern, and you want to be accurate in this offense. Like Jameis didn't throw a bunch, and maybe if you want to trade for Mr. Trubisky, just have him hand the ball off or run, I guess you could do that, sort of a Taysom Hill type offense. But again, you have Taysom Hill, assuming he's healthy. Like, what did Taysom Hill concussion? Or he got hurt. I don't remember what happened to Taysom.
He got drilled.
It was a concussion, right?
I think so.
Okay. And like I said, Michael Thomas is coming back at some point. You would like to think, so that could also help whoever's under center.
They need someone. I mean. Sean Payton has talked up Taysom Hill for so long that it would be interesting to see him start a few games before you just go out and get another quarterback. Because how's Taysom going to feel that, hey, you signed me to that kind of big extension, and now you are not letting me take a step at quarterback at all, even though you said I could. And so that could make things a little awkward. But
let me ask you this also. The reality is that the Saints ain't winning the Super Bowl. You're not winning the division.
I don't think
just beat the Super Bowl champs, Ryan.
They're not winning the division either. So you're sort of saying, do I want to give it a draft?
I mean, the likelihood is that they won't win the Super Bowl and they won't win the division, but they are 5-2, and they have a really good defense. They have a great offensive line, a good running game. They're about to get their best receiver back, we think. If I'm Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, I am absolutely looking to find somebody to come in and bolster the quarterback position in New Orleans.
All right.
I'm sending out feelers, definitely, to see what I can do. Because you only have 48 hours. That's the other thing. It's either you find someone to trade for, or it's Phillip Rivers, or you stick with the guys on your roster.
Well, you can sign Phillip Rivers.
The trade, you have 48 hours.
Right. You can sign Phillip Rivers in 30 weeks.
Well, right. I'm saying that if they don't make a move in 48 hours, then it's either Phillip Rivers or sticking with someone on the roster.
Or you're thinking maybe they trade Trevor Siemian to the high school football team for Phillip Rivers. They got to do that before November 2nd.
I mean, God, would Dallas give up Cooper Rush now?
No. They give it Will Grier. I'll tell you that. You want Will Grier?
Dallas might be Dallas. Yeah, Dallas can't trade their backup quarterback with their starting quarterback still injured.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you're Dallas, you could probably get something decent for him.
Well, they might need him next week.
260 to win the division at Caesars. That's not a terrible bet. I still think the Bucs will win, but
it's a terrible bet. They're not winning the division.
Ryan, have you looked at the Saints schedule? I'm just going to throw out a few games. They still play the Falcons twice, the Jets, the Panthers.
Wait a second. Yeah, I know you just didn't say the Jets. I know that word didn't leave your lips.
This is the Saints playing them.
Who's after the Jets?
The Saints play the Falcons twice, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Panthers. That's 5 games right there.
I would imagine the Buccaneers play a very similar schedule, right?
Very, very winnable.
Would the Dolphins trade Tua?
Yeah. What for what?
2nd round pick?
I wouldn't want Tua.
Or Jacoby Brissett?
No. Is he better than Trevor Siemian?
Well,
Nick
you're
Foles.
really
Nick Foles always
hyping up.
comes
Yeah,
up.
the Bears could trade Nick Foles. Good call, Buffalo Anarchist in chat.
You know what's funny is that
Hey, if you're in chat, by the way, hit the like button. Mash that puppy. We're trying to get these up so we can give away a T-shirt.
commenter Victor Garcia says the Saints should trade for the GOAT, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think the only issue there is that he's not completely healthy yet, and you don't want to pull off a trade for a quarterback who's already injured. Obviously, he's come back from that hip thing in Washington and is not fully back yet.
If we get to 150 likes, I will put on a stupid costume. I'll change costumes and look even stupider. I don't really look stupid now. I kind of look normal, but I will put on a stupid costume. I have several stupid costumes up here. And if we get to 200, if we get to 200, we'll give away a T-shirt. If we get to 250, I'll put on a really stupid costume.
I can only imagine what that's going to be.
I think it's really stupid.
Is
Anyway,
it
so
your
hit
Breech?
that like button on YouTube right now.
Is it your Breech mask?
Oh, I was going to say he was going as, he was going as himself from 2 weeks ago, trying to make against the spread picks.
That's even better. I'm sorry. Look at someone screenshot this and tweet this out.
A stupid outfit.
Benson will put on a stupid outfit.
Benson.
Photo.
You guys just leave.
As for the Buccaneers here, I feel like we didn't learn anything. They just can't beat the Saints in the regular season. Brady's
Right.
0-3. They just match up. Saints just match up well with Tampa Bay, and that's it. Like, I'm not worried about Tampa.
Unless it's January.
Right, unless it's in the regular season, the Saints match up well with Tampa.
Because I don't think any one of us, well, Brinson might. Brinson 100% will if Phillip Rivers is the quarterback.
Hey, all of a sudden, I'm like, screw these Tampa bets. Let's go,
Right.
Saints.
I'm not betting against Tom Brady in January or February. Just I've learned that lesson too many times.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, the NFC's loaded. I don't think the Saints will advance through it, but the Saints did just beat the Bucs. They beat them
That's
twice
huge.
last year. The Bucs beat them back in the playoffs. If they could upgrade at quarterback, I think that they would be certainly a formidable contender. And all of a sudden, you really just have one spot left in the NFC in terms of the playoff.
Here's the thing. I don't want to harp on this because it's not a huge deal. But here, you throw the ball 25 times a game with Jameis or Trevor. You're going to bring Phillip Rivers now. Suddenly, you have to throw the ball 35 times a game. I mean, you're not going to go away from your game plan. So I don't know if it makes sense. But again, if it happens, I guess we'll all find
All right. Let's. We didn't really talk about the game. Brady had a fumble and 2 interceptions, sort of uncharacteristic stuff.
One of those interceptions was a pick six that
at the end there. Yeah.
iced the win.
It probably
for the
saved my
Saints.
fantasy season because I had the Saints going. Not that anybody cares, but I thought the Saints got up. The Bucs came out and got up 7-0. It was like, oh man, this might get ugly. Like he hit Chris Godwin for that touchdown, and Godwin fought through some tackles and fell into the end zone. All of a sudden, it's like, man, like if Trevor, Jameis Winston, or Trevor wasn't Trevor Siemian at the time, but Jameis Winston has to be chunking it around like this, it's gonna get ugly. And they got. I didn't see the second touchdown. We were leaving the house and like walking around, just sort of, have to be a father, have to be a parent, family member.
I left my family on Halloween to come to work, but okay.
Well, that's because you don't care about your kids. And then Alvin Kamara. Then Alvin Kamara plunged in for a 1-yard touchdown run to make it, I believe, 23-7. Felt like the Saints were maybe running away with it and putting Brady down, and then all of a sudden it's bombs away to Mike Evans. Then there was somebody else who,
Hold on a second, because this goes into that thinking.
if you're not a good parent either, so you're probably watching. But go ahead.
So it was 23-7. All right, and we're talking, and the Buccaneers have not done anything since their opening drive. They score a touchdown with, I think, looks like with 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. You're down 23-7. I thought they should have gone for 2, and these points all added up at the end, because that would have made it 23-15. Then you're only down 1 score, and you can maybe tie it 23-23 with your next touchdown. But instead, they went for 1, so it was 23-14. Then went for 1 again, so it was 23-21. And then they were in a situation where they went for 2 after their next touchdown because they wanted to be. It was just weird coaching by Bruce Arians.
You know what else? Well, Bruce Arians is extremely conservative when it comes to, like, he ain't doing the Brandon Staley 4th down stuff, so don't even ask him about it. Also, the officials, again, I don't want to make it about them, but either they're going to call what they're supposed to call or they're not. Like the play that Jameis got injured on, that was by the book horse collar because it got the name plate. You got the N in Winston, and they don't want you to do horse collars for the exact reason that Jameis got hurt. His leg got jacked up. No flag. I mean, it doesn't matter if they won the game, but Are we
I
calling
saw
it or
some
not?
people like say it was a legal tackle, but yeah, I thought it was clearly a horse
Well,
collar.
if horse collar should be inside the collar, but they've
Right.
changed to be the horse plate. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean the whole point is they don't want people grabbing people by the shoulder and the uniform yanking them down, and then they get hurt. So yeah, I think this is sort of a blip on the radar for the Bucs. In hindsight, it was stupid to take the Bucs against the spread.
No, it wasn't. Why?
What?
Why was that stupid?
I don't know. Going to New Orleans this is a huge game. Like you saw Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. It's a big game for both sides, obviously, because it's a division matchup. But I think the Saints just knew how enormous this was and came prepared for it. All right. Let's take a quick break. Oh, no, I tell you what, we'll do Titans-Colts first. Titans are now the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Why is that? Who lost for them to take over the?
People don't have to lose for other people to win, Ryan. Why do you have to look at life like that?
That's how I was raised.
It's true. Breech is a good point there. Titans are number 1 because Las Vegas hasn't played. Las Vegas is on bye. Buffalo's 5-2. And Baltimore's 5-2. They're only 6-2 team. Why are you? What are you doing?
I'm laughing because Debo said at our current pace we're doing 3.5 hours.
Oh boy!
Yeah, we can keep it quicker, Debo. Debo's like, please do a separate Jameis video. Then he's like, hurry it up, guys.
He ain't wrong.
No, he's not wrong. Tennessee 6-2 now, first place in the AFC. Do we believe this team can win the AFC and do damage?
Tell me quickly who's your game next week because this is something we were talking about. It's
the Rams.
The Rams. Okay, so
they're 6-point dogs in LA.
No way is that your line or is that D line?
That is the line.
Okay, interesting. So there's no way they beat the Bills. There's no way they beat the Chiefs. This week would have been a letdown game, and they eked it out. So is the letdown game going to be the Rams game? Excuse me. It doesn't matter in that division, but in terms of them being a legit playoff team, I think they're legit because here's what happens: they play this way every year. Their defense is actually a little better this year. When they get to the playoffs, Derrick Henry warms up, runs over people, and they get to the divisional or championship game in the conference, and then they get close. So I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl, but I like this team. They're for real. I don't have any questions about them. Their defense stunk last year. The year before that, they were really good, and I think they're a lot like that team from 2 years ago.
I think the thing that probably changed more than anything is that somebody asked what changed in the chat, but it's like what changed more than anything was KC's. It's like I guess that's the thing with the AFC. Kansas City isn't in the playoffs as of today, and that makes everything feel so different because
it's wide open.
Yeah, it's wide open. Exactly. Tom Brady's been gone to the NFC and the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. So it feels if you're a team like KC, you have to believe that a team like Tennessee, you have to believe you can do it. I didn't think that they played exceptionally well in this game. They were down 14-0 really quickly. Carson Wentz looked awesome. 2 touchdowns to Michael Pittman. And then Tennessee got it going. A.J. Brown on a long touchdown. Derrick Henry had a mandate, but whatever. They didn't have to. He didn't. I think he ended up with like 18 carries. He didn't have like 36 carries. Did he? I'm dead wrong. Right? What do you kind of minimal? I'm thinking about Dalvin Cook. Oh, he had 28. Jeez Louise.
He had 28, and
they're running him into the ground. It's a problem. I was thinking Dalvin Cook had 18. That's who it was.
His leg got beat up, and he was injured for a second.
That's right.
Just a second though.
Yeah, and he came out for a little bit. 28 carries, 68 yards. Tannehill, 23 of 33 for 265, 3 touchdowns, had 2 picks. A.J. Brown ended up having a monster game, 155 yards and a touchdown. No Julio. I didn't think that the Titans played particularly well.
That's how they always play.
But the Colts, Carson Wentz just winced it up and just gave away possessions, including a pick 6 by the defense on a throw that you cannot make as a professional quarterback.
I mean, it was one of the worst pick 6s in NFL history, especially when you consider the situation that the game was tied 24-24. You're at your own 8-yard line. All you want to do is not turn the ball over there, especially because there's only 90 seconds left in the game. And obviously, Wentz kind of made up for it because he let him down the field and got a touchdown to tie it to send to overtime before throwing another interception in overtime. I mean, it was crazy how well Wentz played in the first half and really the first 3 quarters. I mean, this was the full Carson Wentz experience. I mean, Debo's an Eagles fan here where you can't believe half the things he's doing. Then you're pulling out your hair at the other half. And I mean, the pick 6 and the game ending interception overtime really,
yeah, I had someone tweet me like, "Oh, well, what about his game time drive right there. Like by the time I found the reply, he'd already thrown a miserable pick in overtime. I mean, it was just a roller coaster. And like, let's settle down on that game time drive. He underthrew a DPI play. You know, that wasn't.
Hey, it worked last week in San Francisco.
It works every week. It works for everybody every week. Yeah, somebody asked, are we going to try and talk ourselves into the Colts making the playoffs this week on the podcast? I didn't know we were doing that. I mean, have we been doing that every week?
No,
I think last week we talked about it as maybe a 7th seed in the AFC, but I don't think any of us were sold on it.
Or maybe I think the point of it was if the Colts have been playing well, if the Colts beat the Titans,
right,
they would have a chance to win the division.
Right. And they had a chance and they decided not to take it.
Correct. The Colts, my. The Colts' strength of victory is 22%. The only teams that it's higher than are the Jaguars and the Texans.
By the way,
snap count tracker. I love the snap count tracker. 47 of the expected 2021 Colts snaps. And our friends at Tankathon, what do they have for the draft? Right now, the Colts will be giving the Eagles the 9th pick overall. Philadelphia currently would have 3, 8, and 9 in the draft. So they're kind of the AFC is still wide open enough that you can't give up at 3 and 5. Of course not. But I mean, they're the 12th seed and they're behind Kansas City. They're behind Cleveland. They're behind the Patriots, Chargers, Steelers, Bengals are all up there.
But they're only a game and a half out of the 7th spot.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're not going to give up. That's the quandary. They're not going to give up and sit wins, but they have to be worried about giving away a top 10 pick.
They're giving it away. Like if he's healthy, he's playing.
No, but if they're like 3 and 8, you have to sit him and give away a 2nd round pick.
I could be on board with that if they're 3 and 8.
Yeah,
because at that point, if you're 3 and 8, what are they 3 and 5 right now? So that means you've lost 4 straight games. That means you lost the Titans, the Jets, the Jags, and the Bills.
Yep. All right.
What are the rule? Like, what if you line him up at tight end? Is that legal, or does it have to be quarterback?
It's just snaps played.
Okay.
I will say one crazy sequence in this game real quick happened. And this is where I was like, after this happened, I was like, the Titans are winning this because they just got luck on their side today. They were down 14-7. Tannehill throws an interception, and then the Colts defender fumbles it while he's returning it. And then the Titans recover that.
They get a fresh set of downs.
This was on 3rd and 11. Yeah. So Tannehill's pick turns into a 1st down for the Titans. And on the very next play after the fumble recovery of the interception, Tannehill throws a 57-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown. And a 14-7 game is now 14-14. And it was just like, wow. Because the Colts would have had the ball at Tennessee's 43-yard line, and they would have been leading 14-7 and probably could have piled on because they were doing really well offensively at that point, and they did not. Instead, they gave up a 57-yard touchdown.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back. Oh, we missed! As promised, America's favorite sound drop. Oh, we missed! He missed. Oh, and he may have pulled a hamstring or a muscle, and there is complete elation. Oh, man. We only bring that out when the Bengals lose a bad one. And boy, did the Bengals lose a bad one. The Jets 34, the Bengals 31. The Jets didn't even have their starting quarterback. They were starting someone who may be operating under a witness protection alias named Mike White.
Walter White's cousin, who went to Western Kentucky, came out of nowhere. By the way, if you're watching,
Eddie White's nephew.
By the way, Brinson, if you're watching on YouTube, Brinson, who's this?
Breech?
This is Breech peacocking last week when they crushed the Ravens, talking like they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And now, as he takes a drink of water, dude, buddy years.
That's pure straight tequila.
They got
pure agave to the dome. Yeah,
they got smoked.
It might be cyanide after today with the way. Look, the Bengals were covering. with how much time?
With 4.5 minutes left. This was a classic Bengals.
They were covering.
There he
They
is.
were, they were a
31
double-digit favorite for the first time since 1983, and they were covering.
They were up
2.5 spread,
31-20, Brinson, with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in this game.
and they
Take
lost
it-
to
take it
Mike
to the
White,
backup
the
quarterback.
Jets.
Take us through the final 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Bruce.
walk us through it, Breech.
All right. Well, I'll go from where I got completely. I went from 100% sure they were going to win to total depression in a span of 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So
Go on.
it's so the Bengals score to put up 31-20. It was like, it's Mike White. He had fun in the first half, but he got that concussion in the third quarter. He has no idea what he's doing anymore. There's no way they're going to blow this lead because Tyler Boyd caught a touchdown pass with 7.5 minutes left. So now it is 31-20. And literally, that's what I'm thinking. Mike White got knocked out for a series. He's just not going to be able to do this, but he looked good for the first half. Congratulations to him. And what does he do? Drives them straight down the field, 75 yards. There's a 19-yard touchdown pass, and now it's 31-26. But even then, I was thinking, yeah, but the Jets haven't really done anything to stop the Bengals in the second half. It's like the Bengals didn't do anything in the first half offensively, but they were kind of moving the ball at will in the second half. And then what happened? 31-26, Bengals have the ball. Joe Burrow. Joe, what are you doing? Inexplicable interception. He did it against the Packers, where just in the worst possible spot, he throws an interception. This was just a low line drive straight into Shaq Lawson's face. It was like he was trying to, I don't know what he was doing. He would have had to throw one of those Jeff Blake rainbows you love talking about, Wilson, to get it over Lawson, but then it would have sailed out of the stadium. That was the only way he was getting it over Lawson. And so Lawson bats it down and intercepts it. So now it is the Jets' ball at the 14-yard line. Even then, I was like, all right, they'll stop him here. Not a big deal. And they'll win 31-26, whatever. No, they score a touchdown, which was fine because even though the Bengals were trailing 34-31, even then I was thinking there's still 3:45 left. They have all their timeouts. They've been moving the ball at will, except for that dumb Burrow interception. They've been moving the ball at will in the second half. And so what do? Nothing. They have a 4th and 19. They bury themselves. They punt it. And at that point, I'm thinking, my God, this is it. But they still had 3 timeouts, and the Jets are still the Jets. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, all right, this is possible. It is 3rd and 11 for the Jets because they botched their whole closing situation, not surprisingly at all. And at that point, I'm like, all right, well, the Bengals will get the ball back. They just need a field goal, and they're going to win this. They're going to win this. And what happens? The worst penalty in the history of football is called on Mike Hilton on was bleeding with your head, unnecessary roughness. What's the official penalty? And so the
Bleeding
Jets,
with your head as a defender, right?
well, I think
No,
Ty
no,
Johnson.
it's an offensive player, right?
It was 3rd and 11. Ty
Yeah.
Johnson, I think, caught it for the Jets, and he lowered his head to run forward to like brace for the hit, and that caused Hilton's head to hit Johnson's head, and they flagged him for it. They flagged Mike Hilton, and that was a 15-yard penalty. That was game. I mean, that was the game because they threw that penalty. Otherwise, the Jets are punting.
By the way, worth noting, I don't know where the Bengals defense went. The defense has been playing so well this year, and the Jets were steamrolling them. And you mentioned Mike White went out for a series, and Josh Johnson came in because Joe Flacco, was still getting out of the wheelchair or whatever. He threw a touchdown pass to Denzel Mims, who just said, "I'm not going to catch it." Like he caught the ball in the back of the end zone, and for some reason thought he was a defender with a pass breakup. So that they could have scored points there as well. I don't know if they settled for a field goal or what, but I remember thinking, Josh Johnson just rolling the field and is treating this like a Bengals team that the Bengals we made fun of a few years ago. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if you think it was a letdown from last week, Breech, if they weren't prepared or what. But this is a humiliating loss for the Bengals.
41% of the Circa Survivor contest, which I believe had oh gosh, I don't know how many had to.
Why would you take the Bengals in the Survivor contest?
41% of the people.
Yes.
Well, because the Rams and the Bills have the Jets and the Jaguars coming up, I believe. So people were, and in this contest, people try to save the Bills for the I like that Mike White tattoo time.
Nice. Love it.
I love it. But yeah, a ton of people were on the Bengals, and that's for you, Adam.
Oh, he missed! He missed! Oh, and he may have pulled a hamstring or a muscle, and there is complete elation.
Randy Bullock made his field goals.
And Randy Bullock did hit a walk-off field goal.
And, well, and you know what I'll say real quick is that the reason I didn't start by complaining about that penalty is because, look, if you give up 34 points to the Jets, you deserve to lose.
Exactly.
It's like, that's what this boils down to. Ryan hit the nail on the head. The defense looked horrible. The offense only had 119 yards in the first half. The Bengals picked off 2 passes, which were not Mike White's fault because they both hit the receiver first before they got picked off. And on one of them, Jesse Bates returned it to the 1 yard line, and the Bengals got 0 points on that drive. So that was the kind of day.
They went 4 plays, negative 14 yards, and turned it over on downs.
Yes. And then as soon as it happened, Mike White threw another interception.
Was it the turnover on downs play? Was the 4th down play the throw to Jamar Chase that he just completely dropped, or was that 3rd down?
That was 3rd down. I believe it wasn't 4th down.
Okay, it was like a preseason Jamar Chase drop where you're like, oh.
Yeah, it was 3rd down. Burrow got sacked on 4th down.
It was that 3rd down. He should have easily had that one. All right, so the Bengals lose. Jets are still toast. Bengals probably still fine, but a big game against the Browns coming.
They're not fine. I mean, they're not terrible, but you got to win this game no matter what. After this
yeah. Well, but isn't it weird that the Bengals, who are the the Titans, who are the 1 seed in the AFC, and the Bengals, who are the 5 seed in the AFC, account for the Jets only 2 losses. It's so bizarre.
2 wins, and you were talking about strength of victory.
2 wins. Sorry, yeah.
The Jets actually have the highest strength of victory in the NFL right now.
Of course.
And also, the Jets' only 2 wins last year were against 2 teams that went to the playoffs, the Bears and the Rams.
That's right. Good call.
I don't know what's up with the Jets.
Way to go, Adam Gase.
First 400-yard passing game by a Jets quarterback since Vinny Testaverde in 2000 from Mike White.
Vinny.
Incredible. Completed the first 11 passes of the game, the longest streak by a player in his first career start since 1978 when the merger happened. And it helped to open the door a little bit for a couple of AFC North teams, including Ryan Wilson's Steelers, who looked absolutely enthusiastic and excited to move to 4-3, to knock the Browns to 4-4, to take away a scintillating 15-10 victory with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo watching, because the late game was on Fox, in Cleveland. Ben Roethlisberger, just rename the stadium after Big Ben at this point. Why did I take the Browns when Big Ben is going into Cleveland? He owns them. He's got 12 wins there.
Yeah, and look, you can give Baker credit for playing through the injury. He did not look good. And I know that Odell dropped another pass. Jarvis Landry had a critical fumble at the end of the game when they were driving. Had another drop later, I think, to end the game in terms of turnover on downs to seal their fate. But again, like we said, you can't blame injuries because of what the Packers were able to do on Thursday. So injuries are no longer an excuse. That was Big Ben's best game of the year. And again, it wasn't a lot of fun to watch in terms of vintage Big Ben, but he didn't make mistakes. Najee played well. The defense got after it. TJ Watt had a sack and a half. They created, like I mentioned, they created the fumble with Jarvis Landry late in the game. All things you need to do to win. I mean, it's insane to think that they are inside the playoff bubble right now as we sit here, and the Browns on the outside, the way the Browns started. The Browns are obviously the better team. I don't think this means the Browns are going to Freddie Kitchens it up. For some reason, Freddie Kitchens was trending on Twitter after this game. I think that the joke was Kevin Stefanski dressed up as Freddie Kitchens for Halloween. That's what. Freddie Kitchens minding his own business today, checking Twitter, going,
hey, why am I trending? What did I do?
But I'm sort of concerned about the Browns because Baker, it feels like you're walking a fine line with Baker above the neck. And when he has Nick Chubb and he has Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson had a nice touchdown today. Things are going well. But if he doesn't have his running backs and his wide receivers are like Odell isn't happy or whatever, dropping passes, you got to do a lot of work. And I don't think he's ready to do a lot of work, especially with that injury. The Steelers or whatever. If they go to the playoffs, it'll be a miracle. But let's be real. If they go 8-9, that also seems very, very much.
Three of the next 4 Browns games are on the road, at Cincy, at New England, which I mean that's 2 rocks hitting each other in the face. Lions at home, which you better win, and at the Ravens, and then they're bye. I mean,
that's a lot of work.
It's not out of control to say that they could potentially go be at 5-7 going to the bye, and that will be cause for consternation. Now, I think it's more than likely that they find a way to win one of those division games or the Pats game and beat the Lions in their.
Well, let me ask you this: do you put Baker back on the bench if he's not 100%? Because he's not.
He's clearly not healthy. I mean, look, like people, we say it's not his throwing shoulder, but you're
You don't throw like this.
right. But I'm saying like if your left shoulder is hurt, you're muted, Breech, so try and keep up. If your left shoulder is mangled, it's gonna affect how you play.
Clearly, as it has the last 2 of the last 3 weeks when he played.
And as I mentioned in our picks thing, Brinson, since Baker's shoulder has been injured, the Browns are averaging all of 13.7 points a game.
Yeah.
14, 17,
he
and 10.
He doesn't miss. Like he's missing guys wide. He's missing guys late.
Nathan Graber McCray says in the YouTube chat, try to dress up my kid as Freddie Outhouse for Halloween, but my wife didn't go for it. Reminder, if we get to 150 likes, I will put on a stupid kid's Halloween outfit. If we get to 200 likes, we will give away a Pick Six podcast shirt. Hit the like button in the chat. Let's get those numbers cranked up, fellas and ladies who are watching. Anything else on this game? I mean, Pittsburgh is kudos to Pittsburgh.
Is the only person on the podcast who picked the Steelers to win. I would like to say they look good.
It was actually as a Steelers fan with very low expectations. It was a
Oh,
fine
but
game
hold
to
on.
watch.
I do have to bring up the fake field goal that Tomlin called. That literally after the game, he's like, "Thank God we won because I didn't want people railing on me about that."
Oh, he
And
said
now-
that?
He said it's now just a side note because we won the game, and that's the truth. Like no one's gonna remember it a week from now, but except for maybe Chris Boswell, if he even remembers what day of the week it is.
Well, he got his best player on the team almost killed.
Well, here's the thing: is if you're playing in a game that could be close, like this game, and I called this the worst fake field goal in NFL history, and people are like, "Well, if it would have worked, it wouldn't have been," but it would have been because here's the problem: is that if you don't have anybody else on your team who can place kick, the Steelers have zero. They don't really have a backup kicker. A lot of teams have their punter who does it.
You don't let your kicker throw the football.
You do not put your kicker in a situation where he could get jacked up like that. That's what it boils down to, and especially when you are playing in a close game like this one was. So it was a bad call. And Chris Boswell, my God, poor Chris Boswell got lit up. If you have not seen the hit, it should have been roughing the passer. I think multiple people pointed that out, and
or at least helmet to helmet, like
or a couple things. I feel terrible for Chris Boswell, who's been really good for the Steelers for many years, but it made Tomlin be aggressive, which he isn't always. Because Presley Harvin, who's their rookie punter, is legitimately 240 pounds.
Has never kicked a field goal, right?
He looked like Brinson kicking field goals left-footed. Like you're like, oh my God, this guy. That wasn't even a dunk. Or Debo. Debo said he can't make an extra point yet. He's working on it. This guy's a punter. He should be able to kick field goal. Also, we talk about Stefanski being.
You said that in confidence, by the way, Ryan.
Oh, we said we talk all the time about Stefanski being aggressive. He punted. Actually, it was 4th and 1 nearest midfield in the fourth quarter. They were still down, and he took a delay of game penalty. I said, "What is he doing?" And then it occurred to me, make it 4th and 6, and he punted. He knows the Steelers have to score a touchdown. They must have been up a couple points. He's not worried about the Steelers kicking a field goal, so he's going to punt field position, and that actually made sense. I don't know if anyone asked him about it, but at the time I was like, "Why isn't he kicking the field goal?" And in retrospect, or punting is because they had no options. They had to score a touchdown.
Yeah, and it is. I agree with you. It is ironic that they, like we got 4th down. We can't try long field goals. We got to keep going for it. And that's probably why they ended up winning.
Absolutely.
Patriots 27, Chargers 24. A massive game for Bill Belichick and New England to go into LA and come away with a win in very convincing fashion. They were up double digits, and we've seen this, and I mean, not like I'm tooting my horn on picks or anything. I'm above 500. Had an incredible week by my standards the last couple of weeks.
You beat me. I was below 500, I believe.
It's just an average week. But the point is that I think that maybe I had the Patriots winning outright, I believe, and it's because the Patriots, like the Ravens, are just sort of a bad matchup for the Chargers.
Clearly,
and they sort of putting the reins on Justin Herbert in this offense a little bit. 18 of 35 for 223 and 2 touchdowns, 2 picks is not good. Justin Jackson had 3 carries for 79 yards, but had a 75-yard run and got walked down by J.C. Jackson in the game. Damian Harris was pretty effective, 23 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. I thought Mac Jones looked good, even if his numbers weren't there.
Yeah, the same numbers as Justin Herbert.
Sure,
Except
yeah, like literally, except minus the 2 picks and the two
That's right.
touchdowns.
Yeah, no turnovers.
But I continue to watch Mac Jones play, and at no point has he looked in over his head. And that's
he is a
important.
game manager, and that's exactly what they want him to be.
Yep, for sure. But the Patriots aren't great. They are sort of this team that claws and scratches, and they're a lot like the 0-1 Patriots.
They feel like a team that they know who they are, and they're waiting on the quarterback.
Correct.
And they're treading water right now. They're stealing wins when they can. As Breech liked to joke last week, the only team they could beat were the Jets, no one else. Well, this is a huge win for them. It comes a year after they beat the pants off of the Chargers 45-0.
Yep.
And we always talk about Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks. Brandon Staley 0-1 against rookie quarterbacks. Not a good look, Brandon.
Belichick, by the way, has just confused Justin Herbert twice.
You know what Justin Herbert said after the game on Sunday? Why he was confused?
Oh my God! Look at Prisco is like so annoyed with Justin Herbert. I mean, with Brandon Staley. I don't know. 2 weeks ago in here, everybody's raving about new wave coach Brandon Staley. Now, crickets. He can end up being a great coach, but that's the point. Everybody rushes to judgment. The Chargers have been out coached the past 2 weeks. Period.
Twitter fry.
Yeah, the Twitter cult goes nuts for Brandon Staley again. What a surprise!
I did buy into the Brandon. I was loving Brandon Staley too.
Everyone was, but I mean, like the videos were great.
But by the way, Justin Herbert said after the game the reason that he was sort of confused. He literally said the Patriots played a bunch of cover 2, which we hadn't seen all year from the Patriots.
Well, I mean, that is quintessential Belichick. Adjust your game plan.
That is day one of Madden. I mean, why is that surprising you?
Right, exactly. Again, I mean, the Pats weren't. They had a pick 6 by Adrian Phillips
with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and that up till then it felt like the Chargers weren't. They were only up by 1, but it felt like they were going to win the game. Like they just they were
very back and forth, and then all of a sudden the pick 6 flipped it, and then Folk. I think it was trick or treating the second half of the 4 p.m. game is not an ideal thing to do. All of a sudden you look, you're like, what? I thought this game was close. Pats are up. Josh Palmer gets a great touchdown catch, but there's not enough time left. I'm not worried about the Chargers.
Yeah.
But this would have been a pretty nice little feather in your cap to get to 5-2.
The problem is this is great news for the the Chiefs, because you didn't take the opportunity to extend that lead over the Chiefs, and the Chiefs find a way to win. I can't believe I say that against the Giants on Monday night. Then you have to feel not worried, as Breech said, about if you're the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you feel pretty good about being able to walk your way back into this division. And I would again urge people, if you can find it, bet the Chiefs to win the division, because I think they'll figure it out. And I think they'll probably.
I don't think they're gonna figure it out.
I mean, all right. We're 145 likes. 5 more. I will put on a stupid child's costume. Let's go to the next.
I think the crazy part though is that the Patriots, who I think people start to write off,
Patriots go to playoffs.
They're a half game out of that final spot, and there's no reason they can't. And if they get in the playoffs, like, you don't want to be facing Belichick and him game playing against you.
Who are you going to take right now to make the playoffs? Patriots or Browns?
The Patriots by 1 trillion.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, the Pats are 4-1 in the conference. Browns are 2-3.
That's trouble.
But,
I got 2 words for you.
That's a huge. I mean, that's huge for the tiebreaker. Like, that's hard to overcome.
All you need is 2 words.
They play each other in week 10.
2 words. McCorkle Jones
in New England.
Sure. Now, if the Pats make the playoffs,
yes, they're winning the Super Bowl.
No, one of these teams has to miss. We don't think it'll be Buffalo.
Not the Bengals.
I'm not going to take any of the division leaders. So it's either Bengals, Steelers, or Chargers.
I mean, the Chargers got some work to do. The Steelers obviously shouldn't be in that conversation. Who was the first team you mentioned?
Bengals, Steelers, and Chargers.
I mean, I can't envision a situation where the Bengals.
It's probably one of the AFC North teams.
Fall below the Steelers. That would be extremely humiliating for Breech. So I don't think it'll happen.
That would be funny. Breech was like thinking we're gonna have a home. Like, I won't fly home for the first round of the playoffs because we'll have a bye. And now he's like, oh my God, we're worse than the Steelers and the Pats, and like we might not make the playoffs.
I hope that
eliminated from the playoffs by week 13.
I hope something happens where HQ is running out of people. They have to send Breech to the Steelers playoff game to cover it, and they win.
Next up, 49ers 33, Bears 22. You won't believe it. Well, actually, you might believe this because, very hyper athletic quarterback known for his blazing speed, rushes for multiple touchdowns. So it's not Justin Fields, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. 5 carries, 4 yards for 2 touchdowns. Justin Fields actually had 10 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Finally,
Fantastic
the game that everyone was waiting for, where Justin Fields' full body of work and athletic ability was unlocked, and he could put together the sort of the performance that why people drafted him in fantasy.
You know what changed? Matt Nagy wasn't there. Bill Lazor was calling the plays.
Good point.
He wasn't in Justin Fields' ear.
No Matt Nagy. So yeah.
Joe Mixon pointed that out.
Can you imagine being Matt Nagy at home and watching your quarterback have his best game while you're not there?
Yeah, it's tough scene.
I can imagine it because he probably knew it would happen earlier if he gave over play calling duties, and that's why he didn't.
That's like if you have a
Still
kid
lost,
and they
33-22, Niners over the Bears. Pretty massive game for NFC playoff implications.
What? Are you serious?
I mean, if the 49ers are 2-5, they're probably toast.
They're toast. We've already
If the
talked
Bears
about
win, they're 4-4, and
they're toast. Come on, stop it.
well. I mean,
I could see the 49ers getting in.
No, you can't. You can't see it.
I just said it. I can. Why would I make that up?
If
Because
the
it's
Bears
Halloween.
were 4-4, they would probably have
They'd be the same record as the
tiebreaker over
Panthers.
the Panthers.
Yeah, and the Panthers are not getting in, as we've all determined.
But one of those teams has to get in. Is the thing. Like,
Yeah, we just had this conversation. It's going to
Okay.
be Minnesota,
okay,
Seattle.
sure, right. A 4-4 Bears team couldn't get in the playoffs, but the Panthers can at 4-4.
No, they can't. The
But
Panthers are
who's
not
getting
getting
in?
in.
Like your whole point was one of these teams has to get in.
The Saints are the team that has to get in, and it's
The
gonna be-
Saints are 6. Another one of these dog crap teams has to get in the playoffs.
I know.
Carolina, Minnesota, San Fran, Atlanta, Philly, Seattle, with Geno Smith or Chicago.
Geno Smith, stop it. So Seattle, Minnesota. That's where it is. If I'm wrong, then Breech will shave his head.
All right. Oh, I was about to say next game. I mean, do you want to? We didn't see any Trey Lance in this game, did we? No, certainly no Trey Sermon. Again, no Trey Lance. I guess they felt like it was close enough they didn't want to risk Trey Lance getting hurt again because they used him in all these packages before every single time.
Well, you can't bench Jimmy. There was no point to like pull him. The 49ers are moving the ball up and down the field.
They didn't even Trey Lance didn't play any snaps. They didn't use him in any packages. They've used him in when he's healthy. They've used him in a package every single game.
Well, I'm sure that Shanahan probably thought if you go by the flow, like the 49ers didn't punt in this game. So there was no like Garoppolo and the 49ers offense were just
they ran Jimmy G twice on read option Trey Lance plays in the red zone.
Right, because the Bears wouldn't expect that. They'd expect it from Trey Lance, and it worked both times.
Gotcha there.
No, I'm just saying that it made like I just felt like Shanahan felt comfortable, seeing that Khalil Mack wasn't out there and seeing that his game plan on the first couple drives was working to perfection. So he's thinking, why, you know what? We don't need Trey. I think Jimmy can pull this off. And he ended up throwing for 322 yards. Debo Samuel was a beast, 171 yards receiving. But I mean, that's it. The 49ers literally they kicked a lot of field goals. So shout out to Joey Sly, even though he missed one. But Garoppolo had them moving. They haven't moved the ball this well really all season.
Bears defense
For sure.
is problematic, but I don't
That's
know.
true.
I don't know if that's their biggest issue. All right, what else?
We need to see the 49ers put together some good games against good competition.
This is true. We'll find out because they play the Cardinals and the Rams next 2 weeks.
Cardinals and the Rams next. Big games for the 49ers. If they can win if they go one of those games, then they're firmly entrenched in the playoff mix, in my opinion. Bears schedule coming up is at Steelers and Ravens at home. Oh boy. Could be ejection time. Those are two bad matchups for old Justin Fields. We'll see how he does.
We'll see.
And we'll see if they get back to that's 3 straight losses for them. Tough games, but just a brutal middle of the season schedule. Like you got to find a way to get 1-1 with the bye in between there, obviously. Next up. Broncos, WFT, 17-10. Horrendous game if you were watching football. Not fun in the afternoon slate. I've never seen a team do this like Washington does. They get deep into their opponent's territory and then just don't score any points.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. They got to Denver's 19 and turned it over on downs. Denver's 27 and missed a field goal. Denver's 34 and made a field goal. Denver's 46 threw an interception. Denver's 20 scored a touchdown. That's good. Denver's 29 missed field goal. Denver's 20 interception, and Denver's 30 turnover on downs. They should have scored 35 points easily in this game. They scored 10.
This game and the Packers game too. They didn't either.
Well, that's the crazy part. Is last week I mentioned how they were just the 4th team in the Super Bowl era to score 10 or fewer points in a game where they did not punt. And they almost did the exact same thing in this game. They almost became the 5th team to do it because ended up having one punt, so they didn't do it. But the fact that they have only punted one time over the past 2 games and they're averaging 10 points a game, that's impossible. Like that takes just I don't even know what it takes, but it takes whatever's Washington's doing, and it's not good.
Not good. No, it's insane. And I don't know what Ryan Fitzpatrick's injury. I can't remember what it is, ribs or whatever. It's too late. I mean, he can come back great. It's not that they're done.
No, this is the one thing we talk about the NFC, the 7th seed. Like I know you keep pointing out Seattle and Minnesota, Washington 2-6 probably dead. But I mean, look, if you're in the NFC and you're a terrible football team, you have a chance of sneaking into the playoffs.
Well, they need to wake up. And by the way, they had a chance. So the Broncos trying to run the game out. Chase Young punches the ball out of Melvin Ingram's hand. That was
unbelievable to watch.
And it's still nothing. Just Heineke not being able to move the ball. It just doesn't.
Well, so the ending of that game was just pure. It was annoying because if you're we just walked back in the house and I'm trying to watch the end of these 2 games and we got red zone on. I got red zone on as they're cutting to this Washington game because it's crazy at the end. But the better game is Saints and Bucs because Tom Brady's getting the ball back with a chance for a field goal with 1:44 left. I'm looking at the playlist here. So the Broncos, Washington has the ball 4th and 9. They had the ball on 3rd and 6 on Denver's 7, trailing by 7. Taylor Heineke gets sacked, fumbles. It's recovered by Washington for a 12-yard loss. They now have 4th and 19 at Denver's 20. Taylor Heineke throws it deep right. It's picked off. There is an unnecessary roughness call on multiple players, so that's offsetting. It's taunting by Justin Simmons and McKissick is called for unnecessary roughness. They run Javonte Williams to the right side. First timeout by Washington. The Broncos, again with 32 seconds left, or 37 seconds left, excuse me, run a pass play. They ran a pass play. Teddy Bridgewater gets out there. He has no one to throw to. And instead of just getting down and taking a sack and keeping the clock moving and using their timeouts, he throws the damn ball. So naturally they're going to run it the next play. And you think Washington's getting the ball back like midfield on a punt, deep on a punt with not much time left. Melvin Gordon gets a peanut punched by Chase Young, first fumble in like 200 carries. And it's 1st and 10 at Denver's 24 with 2 timeouts and 27 seconds left. If you're Washington, you feel like you're going to overtime. Like you've got a really good chance to do this. And they ended up with a 4th and 16 at Denver's 30. They went backwards twice. It's just terrible.
And I would also throw in, not necessarily pertaining to that, but the fact that Washington missed 2 field goals in this game, and they were both blocked. Our Chris Blewett, of course, who we mentioned last week, who's very, very unfortunate last name, has kicked in 2 games in his NFL career. He has 3 misses, and all 3 of the kicks were blocked. So I would have to go rewatch each of them to see if he's kicking it too low. But if you've had 3 of your kicks blocked, that either means your kicker has a huge problem or your field goal team has a huge problem because they are not holding their block long enough, which isn't that hard on a field goal. So that's just another one of those mindless errors that Washington made in this game that it just felt like even last week against Green Bay, they if they didn't have so many errors, they could have won, but it was a comedy of errors and they did not win.
All right, so I have to give it on a costume because we have hit 150 likes in the chat. If we had to do 200 likes, press the like button if you haven't hit the like button. Hit it twice. I don't know if you can do that on YouTube, but hit the like button. Comment in the chat. Apparently drives up the algorithm or some nonsense. And if we get to 200, we will give away a Pick 6 podcast t-shirt. Your choice. Black, green, gray, or blue. Naturally, any size you want. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, more football games. So the Seahawks and Jaguars played a game, and Geno Smith looked awesome, and Trevor Lawrence looked terrible. I'm going to allow you guys to talk about it while I go change it my costume, and I'll be back.
All right, fair enough. Seahawks 131-7. What's the next game? No, I'm just kidding. So here's the thing. I mean, the Jaguars stink. There's no 2 ways about it. I don't know if you still remain convinced that Urban Meyer is going to be the coach throughout the 2022 season. I think this team would be immeasurably better without him, whatever. But now I need to moonwalk back what I said a week ago when we were concerned about, or me in particular, about the Seahawks needing to win. They should have won the Steelers game. They didn't. They lost in overtime. They didn't win last week. Who did they play last week? It was a terrible game to watch. That was the
Saints.
The Saints. Oh, God. But they won this game, and the fact that the Vikings lost, I feel like now has them in not terrible position if you're Seattle. You're getting Russ back. I think their next two games coming up after the bye are going to be Green Bay and Arizona, I believe. So if you're going to have that happen, you want it to be with Russ Wilson, and you want it to be in a situation where the 6th spot appears locked up in the NFC, but the 7th spot is wide open. I don't know if you have any thoughts about the Jaguars, Breech. What do you feel about the Seahawks' chances based on how well – this is like backup Sunday, by the way. Every backup just seemed to ball out.
I mean, it was the last thing you'd ever expect. I mean, this was a win they had to have because after losing a close one to the Steelers and a close one to the Saints, both by 3 points, and now if they lose this game and you go 0-3 without Russell, then your season's effectively over. You're not getting the playoffs. And so they came out and they played like that. I mean, it was surprising to see Geno Smith so sharp. I mean, where was this when he played for the Jets? He came out, I think he started the game with 14 straight completions. Starts 14 of 14, which is the longest streak to start a game this by any quarterback this season. And he was just on point, 20 of 24. He wasn't putting the ball on the ground. And it was crazy because, you know, you look at the stats at the end of the game, the Seahawks only had 229 yards of offense.
I don't know if I'm talking this.
Just total domination because Jacksonville couldn't move the ball. And yeah, there's not really, I mean, the Seahawks beat a bad team that they were supposed to beat, and that's really what it boils down to.
It doesn't look as good as it did when Robbie's running around.
Oh, no, you look great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you say?
Do you know about Among Us?
Yeah, I know Among Us.
I'm
What's
a Sussy Baka, or I'm a sus.
You're suspect.
You're Sussy Baka?
I'm a Sussy Baka right now. Bruh. Sussy Baka. I could put on a different costume that's less like terrible for me if we want.
Nope.
Oh, no, you look great.
No, we're keeping that one.
Okay. Does it sound okay, Debo?
Yeah, I think so,
Debo's
actually.
asleep.
You look great, I'll tell you that.
It's very comfortable wearing this mask. Very sus. I'm very sus right now. That's right, guys. Are we done with Jaguars, Seahawks? Nice and cool in here, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Breech, how do you feel about the Seahawks playoff chances now, though?
I like it. You get, as long as Russell Wilson's back after the bye, I think they absolutely have a chance. They have the Packers and the Cardinals in their next two games, but they have that bye week beforehand. And with Russell Wilson, I think they win one of those two games. Without Russell Wilson, I feel like they probably lose both those games. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance. There's a path. They could be 4-1 over these next 5 games. They can steal a win from either the Packers or the Cardinals. The Cardinals feel more likely. But Washington, San Francisco, Houston, you win those games, and then you're right where you want to be.
Oh, do we lose Brinson? Is he still here?
I'm right here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just trying to breathe in that outfit.
Yes, that is. I can't believe Robbie walked around with this all night. No wonder he's just sweating. Pick Sus podcast. I love it.
Yes.
Lucas, what did the note from my wife say when you got your hat?
Did you get it already?
Type it in chat. Oh, you got the hat, buddy. You better have. Or else the postal service has failed us miserably.
Or she sent it to the wrong Lucas.
That's entirely possible. Panthers 19, Falcons 13. Calvin Ridley out for personal. I don't know. I think that's important to address off the top is the fact that Calvin Ridley didn't play in this game for personal matters, and then issued a tweet saying that he is going to, and I quote, I think it's these past few weeks have been very challenging. As much as I'd like to be on the field competing with my teammates, I need to step away from football at this time and focus on my mental well-being. This will help me be the best version of myself now and in the future. I mean, look, first of all, mental health, very important.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do what you need to do to get your head right. If you're not in a good space, then you don't need to be trying to, go out there and he skipped the game in Jacksonville. Oh, excuse me, skipped the game in London against the against the Dolphins. And then last week he had 10 targets for 4 catches and clearly just wasn't himself, and something is off. And this week he's off for personal reasons. We don't know what's happening. Oftentimes you don't know what's happening with your friends, your family, your coworkers. I mean, you just don't always know. And he needs to do what he needs to do to get right. I guess my question with this statement would be, because I read this and to me that makes it seem like he's probably done for the year.
Oh, wait. I mean, I have no idea.
I mean, maybe not. I mean,
Lane Johnson talked about depression last week, and he missed. How much time did he miss?
Now with Jay Glazer on Fox too. I mean, yeah, look, I mean, like,
I think that was 3 weeks for Lane.
Okay, yeah. And, he talked about how debilitating it was. So I don't know what Calvin's going through and how long he may think it happens. But yeah, it could be the rest of the season. It could be 2 weeks. I have no idea.
Sure. No, but I mean, look, I think times are different now than they were. If you if you suggested that you needed 3 weeks off to
forget about it.
Mentally get your head right in the 70s,
not even the 70s,
the 90s, or the early 2000s. It wouldn't be.
They call you soft, you get cut, and then people have to ask you a bunch of questions about it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's good. So to hopefully Calvin gets his head right. Mental health is way more important than football or a game or anything. So
I'm smiling because listening to Brinson have a serious conversation while he's wearing his nuclear reactor hat is
barely able to breathe in this thing.
Oh my gosh.
I think I may switch hats.
With Calvin Ridley not out there, the Falcons offense just looked absolutely lost. I mean, Matt Ryan, it seemed like he didn't know where to go with the ball. And they ended up only totaling 213 yards, which was the second lowest total they've ever had with Matt Ryan as their starting quarterback. And he has been there since 2008. So that tells you this is not a team that goes out and falls flat on their face too often. But they did here.
I think it looks better. That's what Brinson looks like.
Better.
He was ball headed. Yeah, the Falcons stink. I thought they were going to win this football game. I don't know what to make of Sam Darnold. He's so frustrating. Once again, he's like one of the best rushers in the NFL suddenly. That I also don't understand.
He can't throw the football, but he can certainly run.
Well, I push back on that. Sam Darnold had he had a great throw.
He's 13 of 24.
He had a great throw to DJ Moore that should have been a touchdown. It was not ruled a touchdown. It was not ruled a touchdown on review, and it looked like he had it. There's another couple drops out there as well. The offensive line gives up a ton of pressures. And I thought Joe Brady's game plan, especially in the second half.
You try to bring this back to William Mary Joe Brady. That's the issue.
I just think people are trying. Look, Joe Brady's desperate because he got to lose his play calling duties, and he was running Sam Darnold all these read options on every play, like he's freaking
trying to get him knocked out of there so he can get PJ Walker in there.
Well, I was googling injury guarantee 5th-year option to see if I'd forgotten something. Like could they get out from the 18 million if he got Sam Darnold decleated or something like that? But I don't think that's the case. It's a huge win for the Panthers. I don't think that they are a playoff caliber team, but they could go to the playoffs as
you don't have to be a playoff caliber team in the NFC to make the playoffs.
Exactly. Wilson's like they just can't go. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Would you flip and say that? They have the Patriots at home, at the Cardinals, Washington at home, at the Dolphins, Falcons over the next 5.
I mean, they get 3-2 very easily, and then I'd have to.
They have next 4 games, and then they're bye. They could easily go 2-2 in those games.
But the game after that is still the Falcons again. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Falcons after the bye.
Yeah, they go 3-2, and then they're 7-6,
and they're probably
that's great.
Either the 7th seed or the 8th seed in the NFC.
Yeah. All right. So I won't sleep on them yet. They should win those games, but they've lost games that they should have won easily.
You know who my new head is, by the way?
Yeah, that's Sonic. Get out of here.
That's not Sonic.
Who is it?
Sonic's blue.
Who's that, Breech? Breech is frozen. He really was frozen. I thought Breech was
pretending. Knuckles the Cheetah. He is Sonic's
I thought Breech is so weird that I thought he was pretending to be frozen, and he actually was frozen.
Would be totally believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I watched this game because it's it's always on my local channels and not I'm proud of myself for.
I bought into it, Breech. I thought you see.
I'm proud of myself for mostly not falling for the idea that this could be a shootout and using a bunch of like Falcons and Panthers and DFS. I had Matt Ryan on a fantasy team with Kyle Pitts. What are we doing? Why isn't?
We're going to the next game is what we're doing.
I mean, but why? Okay. All right. I mean, Falcons are 3-4. That's a game the Falcons should have won. The Panthers are not a good football team. The Falcons should have been able to put up a bunch of points on Carolina. I think that it's,
out of these two teams, who has a better shot getting the playoffs?
I think it's the Panthers
Yes.
because their defense is better. I pointed this out in my picks column. Was like people were like, "Oh, Matt Ryan's starting to play really well. You know, this team's coming on strong." It's like they just played the Giants, Washington, the Jets, had a bye, and then the Dolphins. Like those are terrible football teams that they went 3-1 against. The Falcons aren't a good football team. If you have any defense, you're going to slow them down, and Carolina did. And I mean, this was. All right, we can go to the next game unless somebody's dying to hear about this game. It's one of these teams. One of these teams is going to be in the playoff hunt. It's pretty gross. The Bills beat the Dolphins 26-11, an all-time backdoor cover. The Bills had no business covering in this game.
No, it was actually a pretty slow-moving game for quite a while.
I believe Buffalo had 3. Was it 3-3 at halftime?
Yeah,
it was. Yes, it was 3-3 at halftime. Buffalo wasn't getting anything done. I thought Josh Allen and the Bills would come out and light up the Dolphins.
Yeah, of course.
Because look at what he's done the last 7 games against the Dolphins. You can see it on youtube.com. By the way, hit the like button. We get to 200. We'll give away a T-shirt, a Pictures Podcast T-shirt, 7-0, 37 points per game. They got to 26 here. The Bills have dominated AFC East opponents over the last 2 years. And while the score here indicates that they did dominate and they covered and they're 5-2 now, it wasn't the best effort from the Bills. A little disappointing, a little lethargic coming out of the bye. Good for Miami for getting up and trying to slowing down that offense. Again, just 2 field goals in the first half. But at the end of the day, Miami is they're not good. I mean, they're 1-7 and they're going to give away a top 5 pick once the season ends.
Yeah, I feel like if you're the Dolphins, you probably all you want to see here was maybe Tua have a pretty good game, so you don't have to keep thinking about this Deshaun Watson stuff. And he didn't do that. So now you're thinking, my God, do we have to try and pull the trigger on this trade? So I think because Tua didn't play super well in this game, that is going to be a fascinating 48 hours. If Tua had come out and thrown 4 touchdowns and the Dolphins upset the Bills, I think that takes probably takes Miami off the Watson ledge, but no.
I didn't think Tua played terribly, but he plays just well enough to get you beat. And, is that a franchise quarterback? No, obviously it's not. So I don't know. I don't know what to make. The Dolphins are not good. I'm not so much worried about the Bills, but they haven't played as consistently as we thought they were going to play. In fact, you could argue they were much more consistent a year ago. So they've had some blips in the old making their way through the regular season. The Titans game obviously doesn't look good, and then you would like to beat the pants off the Dolphins. But whatever, it's a win.
As our commenter, Buffalo Anarchist mentions, Tyler Bass, who's also on my fantasy football team, 57-yard field goal, which was absolutely clutch at the time because it was on the Bills' second possession, but it came after Miami had missed a 36-yard field goal. Jason Sanders usually doesn't miss from that close. Missed the 36-yarder, still 0-0. And so Buffalo got the ball. They're in a weird spot because they had 4th and 9 at Miami's 39. And you kind of think, should we go for it? But we need 9 yards, and 57 yards outdoors in Buffalo is not easy. And Bass drilled it.
Someone asked, because the Bills were one of my best bets, how did my best bets do today? Bills, check. Jags-Seahawks under, check. Pats, check. The money line, too. Cowboys-Vikings, I'm nullifying that because Dak didn't play. I feel like that's fair. Is that fair?
Sure.
Titans,
If
check.
you had picked Cowboys, you'd have taken it.
Right, of course. Washington and Broncos over, loss. So 4-1 if we take away the Cowboys. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Wilson is dressed as somebody asked Dab Colorado, what is Wilson dressed as? Someone who's been kidnapped by a coworker and forced to podcast until 3. He's dressed as someone who's been kidnapped, basically. He's
dressed as someone who's talking to a character from Monsters Inc. and Sonic the Hedgehog's friend.
Right.
Knuckles is the answer.
Knuckles.
Yeah. Knuckles and Cheeto.
I'm the parole officer talking to my 2 dumbass parolees checking.
By the way, 2 straight weeks where if like 2 or 3 of these games weren't like decent, it would have been a really bad week. Like this was not a thrilling week. I didn't feel like.
No, the 1 p.m. games weren't great. It got exciting towards like the last 5 minutes of some of those fourth quarter 1 p.m. games. But yeah, there was, and that Sunday night game wasn't a lot of fun to watch either until sort of the end there.
Well, I mean, Titans-Colts
Yeah.
was exciting, and Jets-Bengals was exciting if you didn't have a rooting interest in the game. And then,
But again, that happened at the end where things got spicy.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, there's going to be one or two early games that are intriguing. One that is going to go to overtime and carries a slate, and then you get one in that like you get. I think we had two. I guess two if you count Washington and Denver in the late slate that were good, and then you just hope Sunday Night Football is intriguing. It was a fine week. There's just going to be weeks where it's a little.
It wasn't
slow.
great. It wasn't. We won't be talking about it in 3 weeks. We won't remember it.
It was Goldilocks.
Eagles.
Just
It was a great week for Debo because the Eagles won 44-6. So then maybe he wanted their draft pick to improve instead of to.
What
fall.
dummy took the Lions? Oh.
The Lions didn't come close to covering. They are 0-8, and that is the fourth time that they have started 0-8 in their franchise history. 1942, they went 0-11 for the season. God, can you imagine how wonderful a 11-game season would be to cover?
Oh, can you imagine being a Lions fan thinking, "Oh my God, only 3 more weeks in the season"?
Yeah, all right. 2001, they went 2-14. 2008, of course, 0-16. So my question for you is, what will the Lions finish at the end of the day?
Shout out to Debo for the headline: Eagles beat Lions 44-6. Hello, playoffs. The Lions are going winless. JJ made that point on HQ on Sunday night. And if you look at the schedule, please find me a win. Show me the win. I mean,
let's see. Lions schedule.
There's always a letdown game by someone. Trap game somewhere. They overlook them.
Yeah, the Lions thought they were beating the Eagles, and they got absolutely smoked.
They got the Bears, Vikings, and Broncos in 3 consecutive weeks.
Okay.
I mean, they could beat those teams.
So the Bears game is in Detroit. That's going to be -4.5.
They can beat the Falcons.
Falcons is in Atlanta.
I mean, look, there's no guaranteed win on the schedule.
And classic Breech. They play the Packers in Week 18. Maybe the Packers already clinched the top seed, and they're benching everybody.
Or Packers clinched the number 2 seed because somebody ran away with
That's
it.
more likely, I think. Maybe the Cowboys.
They're locked into their seed and they don't play everybody. I feel like.
But here's the thing.
Matt LaFleur definitely does that, right?
I would take
2019. Yeah,
I would take most teams' backups against the Lions. That's the other thing, because then it's just a pick 'em. I mean, you're still got a 50-50 chance, which is best case.
The mistake here was because in terms of trying to handicap and predict this game, it was like, all right, the Eagles aren't very good. They're going to Detroit. The Lions are short dogs, 3.5 points. This is where they get their win heading into the bye momentum. But the Lions are a really bad football team with way less talent than like most other teams in football, aside from maybe the Jets, but the Jets did beat the Bengals today, and the Texans, exactly. So what really the way we should have looked at this game in hindsight, obviously, is they put it all out there for the Jared Goff revenge game. Multiple fake punts, onside kick, everything, unloaded the playbook, and still lost by 9. And they're
basically Bengals Ravens last week, and then Bengals Jets this week.
It could be a trap game for the Browns.
Exactly.
The Browns play Bengals and Patriots, then the Lions, and then the week after the Lions they play the Ravens.
I'll be honest with you. The Steelers play the Lions off the Lions bye. That's a game the Steelers.
That'd be concerning for sure.
That's a game Pittsburgh is not afraid to lose. I don't know where it is. It may not matter.
That's a Mike Tomlin special. It's in Pittsburgh.
Oh boy, it's a doo-doo burger just waiting to be served up on a platter.
And who the Steelers play? Who the Steelers play this week?
Yeah, they're playing. I got it in front of me. It's team
the Bears at home.
The Bears
on Monday Night Football.
Right, there we go. I can go any number for you as well.
And the Steelers are at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football the following week.
Yeah, that's
that Lions game. It's a Monday Night Football game at home. That's a big game, even if the Bears aren't good. Lions is a very clear trap game, Mike Tomlin special, I feel like.
Yeah, nothing Breech would love more than back-to-back losses to the Bears, and then
Debo, anything you want to add on the Eagles here?
Not much. Very fun 3 hours for the first time in a little while.
Never even in question. This is a butt whipping.
No, I mean it's easy to say, oh, they should have been. Look at their success in the run game today. They should have been running it all year. But it's easy to say that when you're facing the Lions. But it is
Darius Slay revenge game.
Darius Slay revenge game, absolutely. I was going to say earlier, Xavier Woods looked like he he wanted revenge against the Cowboys. I kind of bought into your theory a little. Like, he just seemed like he wanted it. But yeah, Darius Slay, touchdown in this one. Jalen Hurts, the stats won't jump off, but was really impressive as a runner today. Did everything that you needed to do, even though he was 9 of 14 for 103 yards. Played great considering it was the Lions. So,
Debo, is there if you're Dan Campbell, is there anything you can hang your hat on and tell the team in the locker room that you feel good about?
No, I mean, this has been the Dan Campbell hype podcast, but
I know.
You didn't get shut out. That's your hang your hat on.
Oh gosh,
he made a really bad decision at the end of the first half to go for it. I'm all about being
you got to put some points on the board there and just get the half. What was he doing?
And it was like 18 seconds with no timeout, so you weren't going to convert the touchdown on 4th and 5. So like, just get the points there. It was mind-boggling to me. That's when I hit you guys up and I said Dan Campbell stinks. But yeah, this Eagles roster
being aggressive just to be aggressive,
right? This
that was like the line from Super Troopers: "Desperation is a stinky cologne," and Dan Campbell smells like it. You know what I mean? Like he needs a win really badly, and
yeah, he's running.
That wasn't it.
Options.
Oh, I mean, also it wasn't like it was like 32-0. It was 17-0 at that point. So just kick the field goal, make it a 2-score game, get the half, and then
you look at the conversion.
Poured it on.
The Detroit Lions conversion chart, 17-0 is 32-0. So it's whatever happens.
Yeah.
All right, Rams. Unless you got more, Debo, we good?
No, schedule sets up the easiest schedule in the league, and with the benefit of having another team's top 3, top 5 pick, I'm not rooting for them to lose. And like I've said all along, I think they end up with 7 or 8 and don't fire their coach. But that's where we're at.
Well, David, let me ask you this, because no one has been mentioning the Eagles as a playoff team. What are your percent chances they sneak in?
I'll flip it on you. How many wins do you think it takes to get that 7 spot?
Breech is good at that. What is it, Breech? I haven't given
I would say 8's the lowest number that's getting it, but I'd probably say 9 and 8.
The NFC? No. 8, there's a chance 8-9 gets in. If the Panthers are the current 7 seed at 4-4.
Right. That's why, Eagles
8-9 out of the question.
Eagles have 4 division games left, 3 of those coming against actually 5 division games left, with 2 against the Giants, 2 against Washington. You can chalk Dallas up as a loss unless they're resting people at that point. A game against the Jets, they could get to 8.
They have 9 games left, and only 2 of them are against a team with a winning record.
And I know we already talked about the Vikings, but
3.
like y'all are hyping up the Vikings as the team that's going to steal that 7 spot.
I'm
they
not.
still have to play the Packers twice.
I'm not hyping on the Vikings.
Okay. I sort of thought you were.
No, I'm off them. I'm on the Seahawks.
Yeah, we all in Ryan's game that he had, nobody picked the Vikings.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, the Vikings are right there as a possible contender.
Yes.
They
So
still
you're
have
hyping the Vikings.
Ravens, Chargers, Packers twice, at 49ers, Rams, Steelers, Bears twice. And the Bears traditionally have just wrecked Kirk Cousins. So
yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, look, the Eagles are not dead. And the other thing about this game too, where we sort of messed up the handicap, is that well, no, there were rumors about Jalen Hurts being benched.
I didn't hear those rumors.
I saw Gardner Minshew.
Right, were there, Devo? It was like circulating like in the dark web on Eagles Twitter or something.
I don't know how dark you're getting there, but I don't think there's any serious nature to
it
any
wasn't
of
serious,
that.
but like I'm just saying, if he lays an egg and the Eagles lose to the Lions, it's full blown
the
fire everyone
Flacco
and bench
trade.
Jalen.
Yeah, the Flacco trade, Minshew gets bumped up.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Somebody had speculated that maybe they want to see what Minshew can do after Flacco got traded.
Right.
No, I mean, you give Hurts. I don't care how bad you give him the entire season.
We're gonna wrap this thing up before 2 hours. I can't handle.
All right, well, you brought it up. Let's go.
We're just moving along. Rams 38, Texans 22. Misleading score. But
I looked up and I was like, oh my God, they're going to cover.
I thought the Texans were going to cover. I mean, if you had
the Rams 16.5, and they did cover.
Oh, it closed at 16.5, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we picked it at
14.5
or something. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I bet it.
It was 38-0 in the fourth quarter.
With 8.5 minutes left in the game, it was 38-0.
Yeah. And look, again, I want to stress this. The Rams have done this. I think it's important to tuck away for future betting purposes. The Rams have now twice, when it was 31-3 against the Giants and 31-0 against the Texans, kept throwing touchdown passes with their start Matthew Stafford in the game. Like they're not afraid to put their foot on the gas. So that's just something to consider. Cooper Kupp is on pace for 133 catches.
My God.
1,963 receiving yards and 21 touchdowns. He is 1 yard behind the single season record of Calvin Johnson, 1964. You want to say he can't get 2,000? I don't think it's that crazy. Like Matthew, again, they throw when they're up. Stafford and Kupp like have this great connection. Kupp works underneath. He can go deep. He gets tons of yards after the catch. The Rams are a really good football team. And I would like to stress once again that I hate you, Breech, for somehow manipulating me off of the Rams and onto the 49ers.
I was in your head.
No, I was just annoyed that you were like trying to steal my bandwagon. So I jumped somewhere else and I just stayed on the Rams because I didn't know you were jumping.
Oh, well, you fell for it.
And then I jumped off too. Last time the Rams started 7-1, 2001, they went to the Super Bowl.
Kurt Warner, Dick Vermeil. I think Vermeil, maybe. I don't know if it was
2001 was Mike Martz.
Mike Martz. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad, Mr. Vermeil.
That's right. Mr. Torrey Holt. Is that what
yeah, the Texans are
this is a blatant mismatch.
The Texans just don't have the players.
They don't have the firepower. Yeah.
And Davis Mills, like last week, he could not move the ball until at the end there, where they were just sort of getting lucky, and racking up points when no one was paying attention. So Tyrod Taylor might come back next week. At this point, it doesn't matter. They're a better football team with Tyrod Taylor, but I don't know what. I don't know.
Look at that. Stafford 5-1 to an MVP.
Ooh.
I love Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers. What we're doing.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with those guys. Lamar at 18-1 isn't crazy either. There's a lot of season left, right? We just finished week 8.
By the way, Dak and Aaron are 10-1.
10-1 for Aaron Rodgers, 18-1 for Lamar, and 10-1 for Dak. I would have if Stafford was 10-1, I'd be interested, but I mean, don't ever bet Derrick Henry to win MVP.
I don't think Kyler Murray at 5-1. I do not like at all.
Mahomes at 40-1 is at least intriguing.
No.
Yeah, boy. I'm gonna make a mistake this week. Tell you that much. Anything else in this game? Stafford. If Stafford plays 17 games, the Rams are just
going
right
to
there.
playoffs.
Well, no, I mean, I just think I think the Rams are a really good football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are.
And I don't think this game changes anything I think about the Rams.
There's 5 really good teams in the NFC, and the Rams are
definitely one of them.
2, 3, or 4.
Texans are terrible. All right, let's get to winners and losers.
Winners and losers.
Who wants to start, Breech or Wilson?
Go ahead, Breech, because I'm interested to hear what your loser's going to be.
Are we doing winners first or losers?
You can do winners. I'm just thinking ahead.
All right. You know what? I'm going to be a man. And I'm going to put my homerism aside. I am going to say the winner.
By the way, this is very Breech of you. You're not being a man. You're not putting your homerism aside. You're preventing me and Wilson from naming the Bengals as losers by naming the Jets as winners. I respect it. It's smart.
Ain't gonna work.
It's a very Breech thing to do.
My winner is Jets quarterback Mike White. He diced up the Bengals defense in his first career start. He went out there, and the Bengals are supposed to be a playoff contender, and he was so good that he became just the second quarterback in NFL history to throw for more than 400 yards in a game. First quarterback in NFL history to throw for more than 400 yards, along with 3 touchdowns. And he willed that team to a win. If you're the Jets, I don't know how you go back to Zach Wilson. You almost feel like you wasted the pick.
What?
I don't know. Okay. Let's give Mike White a couple more weeks. He might fall back to earth and actually look horrible in the next few weeks. But for right now, he does not. He looked like a winner on Sunday, and that's because he was.
I mean, Breech isn't wrong. If you do all the best throws of the year from Zach Wilson and this game today from Mike White, you're going, oh, Mike White clearly is the starter. Zach Wilson is the redshirt freshman who will play in 2 years. And that's just whatever reason. That's where we're at. Obviously, Zach Wilson's a feature for at least this year or next.
Yeah, I mean, let's settle down here, guys.
But
they were kind of getting blown out, and then like the Bengals sort of let up in garbage time, and Joe Burrow made a dumb decision. And
it ain't a good look for.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is way more of a like the Breech thing he did. You actually know, whatever. Who's your winner, Wilson?
Do I want to take the layup and go with the Steelers? I think I'm gonna go with
Chris Boswell,
the New Orleans Saints. A little flippity flop there. So the Buccaneers had a chance to create a little more space in that division. They're going to win the division. I feel like Brinson's a little more nervous about that than I am. But the Saints get to 5-2. They're half game back of the Buccaneers. More importantly, they did it with Jameis now going down. They have Taysom Hill coming back. They have Trevor Siemian. They have Brinson hopes and says his prayers tonight. Phillip Rivers coming through that door. But even if he doesn't, this team is going to the playoffs. It's just a matter of what are your expectations if you're Sean Payton once you get there. This is a huge win. So instead of going to 4-3, as I mentioned, they're 5-2, and in the catbird seat.
My winner is Cooper Rush. First career start. He walks out of the field in Minnesota, which, by the way, has been a really tough place to play for opposing teams, opposing offenses against Mike Zimmer defenses. Zimmer has a crazy record against the spread at home. The Cowboys are favored. The line flips. Dak's out. It spikes up. Everybody's on the Vikings. Super sharp play. No Dak. We got a great number. And Cooper Rush goes out there and wins the freaking game in really impressive fashion. And I think that does one. It's awesome. If you didn't see his dad's reaction in the stands after he won, watch it. It's fantastic. Spends his whole life raising his son. He gets his first start for the Cowboys on the road with America's team, and they're it looked like an elite NFL squad. And he picks up the win. They moved to 6-1. They are, easily going to win this division. It would be shocking unless obviously Cooper Rush has to play the rest of the season and Dak is done. But it's just an awesome scene to see him win that. And for the Cowboys, I think you feel a lot better watching Cooper Rush play about the idea of, okay, if we need Dak to sit and get healthy, knowing that our division is so bad, we have someone who can actually perform at a high level for us. So Cooper Rush, my winner. What about your loser, Breech?
My loser is Tua.
Oh, please.
What? Not only is he the
Tua who?
quarterback.
Tua who?
Tua
Tagovailoa.
That's one thing.
What? You thought you knew his name.
Brady Quinn on Wednesday never heard you say.
Tyron Mathieu.
He lost
You wanted me to botch it so we'd have a new recording?
Yeah.
I've listened to Wilson say it too much.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, look, here's the deal. His team has lost 7 straight games. He didn't play well enough to win. And not only has his team lost 7 straight games, so now he has to spend the next 48 hours wondering if he is going to be the quarterback of this team any longer. I would say that's a pretty uncomfortable spot to be in. The fact that your coaching staff, although they won't say it publicly, it feels like they've given up on him after only a year and a half, and they're ready to kick him in the curb. So that makes Tua my loser.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Very uncomfortable spot, like the back of a Volkswagen. That's a mall restaurant.
Yeah, obviously.
This is a layup, Breech. You know who my loser is.
You say the Bengals?
The only.
Don't say.
Kirk Cousins.
Oh,
Kirk Cousins. You laid a big fat turd on national television in prime time because you're the Andy Dalton of Minnesota when it comes to primetime games. And he wasn't the sole reason they lost, but he didn't help. The offensive line didn't play great. Justin Jefferson didn't run through that one ball down the sideline, which was sort of weird. But every other throw felt like it was short or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage or a medicine ball. And against a defense that's obviously better than it was a year ago, but still not a lights out defense. And again, you're playing Cooper Rush. You had to win that game to get to stack a win, as we like to say, against a Dak Prescott-less Cowboys team. You didn't do it at home. Your stadium had more Cowboys fans than Vikings fans. All around doo-doo performance, and now you're not going to the playoffs because of it.
So one of my favorite bands of all time, Fish, is doing a little Halloween run out in Las Vegas, 4 nights, and they've been doing these themed evenings. So sticking with the theme, Wilson kind of veering off course. It's a Halloween show. Normally, we try to make these winners and losers from separate games so we can lump them all together for the segment that they put out wherever they put it. Wilson, dives into, I go Cowboys. Wilson dives in on Kirk Cousins, and that's perfectly fine. But it sets it up nicely because I can point out the very obvious loser in the room.
Oh, he missed! He missed! Oh, and he may have pulled a hamstring or a muscle, and there is complete elation.
That's right, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bungles.
Cincinnati Bengals. Just when you think you can trust them, you think they can go on the road and beat a bad team, a real bad team with a backup quarterback. Joe Burrow's rolling. Jamar Chase is catching everything, setting records. He's got T. Higgins. It's fantasy people are all over Higgins. Going to have a huge game, air yards, blah, 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 blah. Tyler Boyd set to be great. Joe Mixon going to be awesome. Oh, this defense is elite. And they give up 34 points to the Jets and Mike White. And Breech has the gall to come on here and name Mike White a winner in order to avoid the Bengals losers talk. It was going to be pretty impossible to come up with a worse loss this season than the Titans lost to the Jets. And the Bengals said, hold my beer. Because we just got here. Like, you guys have been to the playoffs a bunch. We just got here. We arrived. We're the AFC's number one, or the number one seed in the AFC. Just go beat the Jets and Mike White, and we are putting this division on lock. We're like fighting with the Ravens. We're trying to like maybe get a bye. No, they pooped their pants. They shanked a field goal dead right, like Fat Randy, and they lost it. And they lost to the Jets. It was pathetic, and they are the losers of the week by far. And your little Mike White winner can't erase it, Breech. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny? This is the Bengals. This wasn't even their worst Halloween loss ever. I remember on Halloween in 2013, they lost in overtime on a walk-off safety. There's only been 3 walk-off safeties in NFL history, and one of them happened on Halloween 2013.
Was that Andy Dalton and the Dolphins?
Yep.
I remember that game. Oh, that was terrible. I remember that game like it was yesterday. Good times.
All right. And look, Wilson, I get crap for I like it. I like this Bengals team. So I picked the Bengals to cover because I thought the Jets are the backup quarterback. Even 10.5, they should have covered too, is the thing. And so very disappointing that the Bengals lost. But they are.
I mean, I even said on a pick show last week that you shouldn't trust the Bengals as a 10.5 point road favorite. I didn't think they were going to lose, but then I picked them to cover anyway because.
Yeah, it was just hard to wrap your mind around. But like the game played out correctly. The Bengals are up 11, and they're just going to snuff out the Jets, and then they just somehow won the game. And a race, biggest loser, Survivor. People who picked the Bengals as Survivor. That was a mistake. Anything else before we get out of here? Hit the like button. We didn't get there for the free T-shirt.
Maybe next.
Sorry, I did change it to multiple children costumes, but
it'll carry over. We're still giving away the shirt at some point.
T-shirt coming. So we'll do the Monday night show. Hey, if you're watching now, come Monday night. We will have a stream after the Monday Night Football game.
And then what about Tuesday, Brinson? What do we got Tuesday?
Tuesday trade deadline live show 3:30 p.m. I don't know who's on it, but I'm sure it'll be amazing.
You're looking at the crew.
Oh, it's us. All right, cool.
Before that, Tuesday at what time, Devo? 1?
Oh, Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Sorry. Yeah, 1 o'clock. Wilson's mock draft show. Multiple live shows on YouTube on Tuesday.
A lot of Ryan Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I hope you like Ryan Wilson. He's up in your face.
Yeah. Too bad I'm not getting paid by episode. I'll just say that.
If we were getting paid by episode, I would have retired already.
I know, right?
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to the show on audio, go and hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel and hook your boys up. Talk to you guys later.